Hello, Mark McElroy from Mr. Green Franchising here. I thought I'd just make a very short video just pointing out some important things that you should be checking before you commit to buying a lawn mowing or cleaning franchise in New Zealand. There are some important steps that you should go through. The first thing is to talk to other franchisees in the system. Make a list of questions that you want to find out, maybe like how they treat their franchisees, what money you're making, what's good about the franchise, what's bad about the franchise, and that will help you to decide whether you want to be part of that particular system. The second mistake that potential franchisees make is they don't get a legal opinion about the franchise document. Sure, it'll cost you money to have a lawyer to look over it, but it is much more important to have that information about what's in the contract up front than finding out a few months later that you might be locked into a contract for 20 years, like one of the companies does here in New Zealand. So spend the money on getting a legal opinion. The third thing is to do with the actual term of the franchise. When you buy a franchise, it's just like renting a house for a year or renting an office for 5 years. You buy a franchise for a set term. And if you leave within that term, just like if you leave the house or leave the office, you still have financial obligations to pay to that franchise. Now, there is one company that I know of in New Zealand who makes it very difficult for franchisees if they leave early, and they only sell 20-year term franchises. The reason they sell 20-year franchises is that they used to sell 10-year terms, but they found that so many franchisees were leaving at 10 years because the franchise was such a bad franchise that they just wanted to get out of it. So I suggest you look for a franchise that has shorter terms but with plenty of renewals in there, so you can have it for 15, 20, 30 years as long as you're wanting. At Mr. Green, we offer 5-year terms with quite a few renewals, like 4, 5 or 6 renewals on the franchise term. Another thing to look out for, if you are looking at a franchise because you've been referred to them by a friend, there might be an existing franchisee of that company, ask them whether or not they are being offered a referral fee if you buy into that franchise. I am aware that some franchise systems are finding it very tough to attract franchisees, so they are paying their existing franchisees a very large referral fee if they find somebody to buy into the franchise. Now, a franchise, in my opinion, should be good enough for people just wanting to join on its own merits. But some franchises struggle because they aren't a very good franchise, basically. They don't look after the franchisees, they charge massively high fees, and so that they can't get franchisees. Another thing to watch out for is what is compulsory in the way of products that must be bought through the franchise. I am aware that some franchises demand that you buy their petrol through one supplier. And of course, the only reason for that is that the company is getting a backhander for every time somebody buys petrol. And so just find out what products you have to buy and ask the question, what backhanders are you getting? Because they do need to legally tell you if they are getting backhanders. And the final thing is, ask what happened during COVID. We, as a country, went through lockdown. I think it was 2 lockdowns for 5 weeks, and it might have been a 3-week period or something like that, where franchisees had no income. Now, most of the franchise systems just waived the franchise fees totally for their franchisees unless they were able to work, and then they did charge them a franchise fee. I am aware, however, of one of the large franchise groups demanded that their franchisees kept on paying their weekly fees even if they earned no money whatsoever. Of course, that, to my mind, is not the way that you run a business, and it is not a morally fair way to look after people. You'll find that most of the franchise systems waived fees, but there was one company that refused to waive fees. So look, that's just some key things to keep in the back of your mind. If you're thinking about buying a franchise, more than happy for you to contact me directly. You can email me, mark@mrgreen.co.nz, or I'll leave my phone number down in the notes below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. I hope you found this informative.